There is a specific kind of silence that happens late at night, a silence where the world finally stops asking things of you. It is the time when the heavy machinery of society, the emails, the expectations, the constant grinding noise of social performance finally comes to a halt. You are lying there, perhaps staring at the shadows on the ceiling, or watching the way the streetlights hum outside, casting long orange shadows across your floor like the ribs of some ancient, forgotten creature. In these quiet moments, when the blue light of your screen finally fades and the masks we wear during the day begin to slip away, many of us realize something unsettling. We are tired, but this isn't the kind of tired that a nap can fix. It isn't the heavy-limbed exhaustion that comes after a long day of physical labor or a night of poor sleep. Those are things we can quantify. We can explain them to our friends over a cup of coffee, and they will nod in understanding. This is different. It is a quiet, heavy exhaustion that seems to live in the bones and the very marrow of who you are. It feels like a fog that has settled over your mind, making every small decision, from the words you speak to the way you move your body, feel like lifting a mountain. And the most confusing part, for so many of us, is that your life might be objectively fine. You might have a stable home, a job that pays the bills, and people who genuinely care for you. Nothing bad has happened. There is no tragedy to point to, and no crisis to blame. And yet, the weight is there. You feel as if you are carrying an invisible stone through a world that expects you to run at full speed. You are depleted, and the guilt of that depletion only makes the fog thicker. You tell yourself you have no right to be this tired when others have it worse. You compare your easy life to the struggles of the world, and you find yourself wanting. But pain is not a competition, and exhaustion is not a sign of failure. You cannot discipline your way out of soul-deep exhaustion. You cannot outwork a spirit that is asking for a pause. If you're listening to this right now, I want you to take a long, slow breath. For the next 12 minutes, you don't have to fix this feeling. We're just going to name it, because sometimes the heaviest thing we carry is the feeling that we shouldn't be tired at all. We are conditioned to believe that exhaustion must be earned, that we must reach a certain level of suffering before we are allowed to rest. But the soul does not keep a ledger of productivity. It only knows when it is full and when it is empty. Tonight, we acknowledge the emptiness without judgment and without the need for a cure. Think about your phone for a moment. You aren't actively using any apps. The screen is dark, but the battery is still draining. Why? Because of the background processes, the updates, the syncing, the constant tireless searching for a signal. The human mind, especially in our modern, hyper-connected world, works the exact same way. We often measure our effort by what we did today. Did I go to the gym? Did I finish the report? But we rarely measure the effort of what we carried today. For the overthinker, for the professional, the mind never truly enters sleep mode. Even when you're sitting on the couch, your mind is running background processes. You are subconsciously scanning your environment. You are anticipating a conversation you might have tomorrow. You are replaying a look someone gave you 3 days ago, trying to decipher its hidden meaning. This is cognitive load. Every open loop in your life, every unanswered text, every half-finished project takes up a small percentage of your processing power. When your background processes are always running at 30%, you start every day with a battery that is already partially empty. By the time you reach 3 p.m., you aren't just tired from your job. You are tired from the sheer act of maintaining your internal world. Consider the phenomenon of decision fatigue. We make thousands of choices every day, most of them invisible. What tone should I use in this email? Should I buy this brand or that one? Is it okay to say no to this invitation? To a healthy mind, these are ripples. But to an exhausted mind, these are waves. We live in an era of infinite choice, and infinite choice requires infinite energy. Every choice you make, no matter how small, burns a bit of your fuel. By the end of the day, you aren't just physically tired, you are choice weary. You are depleted because your brain has been forced to navigate a labyrinth of micro decisions. While you are trying to do something as simple as exist, you are tired from the constant updates your brain is trying to install. While you're just trying to survive the afternoon, we feel a sense of urgency for tasks that don't exist, and a sense of guilt for rest that hasn't been earned. This is the invisible labor of the 21st century, the work of managing a self in an age of overinformation. The tiredness you feel, that deep, unexplainable fatigue, is often just the sound of your system finally reaching its limit. It is your brain's way of saying, I can no longer hold all of this at once. It is a plea for the background processes to finally, for once, stop running. There is a specific exhaustion reserved for those who are easy to be around. Maybe you were the child who never caused trouble because you could feel the tension in the house and you didn't want to add to it. Maybe you were the friend who always listens, the one people call when they are in crisis because they know you will have the right thing to say. Maybe you were the partner who never picks a fight because you would rather swallow your own needs than deal with the discomfort of conflict. To be this person, you have to engage in constant, emotional self-monitoring. Before you speak, you filter. You ask yourself, is this too much? Will this make them uncomfortable? Am I being a burden? You are constantly adjusting your volume, your tone, and your needs to fit the space you are in. It's like walking on a tightrope, while everyone else is walking on solid ground. To the outside world, it doesn't look like you're doing much. You look calm, you look easy, but every muscle in your body is working at maximum capacity to keep that balance. This is masking, and masking is incredibly expensive. It costs a massive amount of psychological energy to suppress your true reactions, your true anger, and your true needs in order to maintain the peace. When you feel tired, even when nothing is wrong, it might be because you have spent the entire day being fine for everyone else. You aren't tired of your life. You are tired of the performance of your life. You have spent so much time being who they need you to be that you have forgotten who you are when nobody is watching. You have become a secondary character in your own story, making sure the leads are well supported, while your own narrative sits gathering dust in the wings. Think about the customer service voice. That's slightly higher, slightly more polite, slightly more accommodating version of yourself. Now, think about how often you use that voice, not just at work, but with your friends, your family, even your own heart. You are tired because it is exhausting to be anyone other than who you truly are. You are carrying the weight of everyone else's comfort, smoothing the edges, ensuring the ride is pleasant for everyone else, while you absorb the impact in your own spine. This is why you feel heavy. This is why the silence of the night feels like a relief, because it is the only time you are allowed to stop absorbing and just be. We are taught that rest is a destination. We think, if I can just make it to the weekend, I'll be okay. But have you ever slept for 10 hours and woken up feeling even heavier? That is because sleep is for the body, but stillness is for the soul. In our modern world, even our rest is active. We relax by scrolling through feeds that tell us how to be better, how to be more. We unwind by watching shows that demand our constant attention and emotional investment. We are constantly inputting information, even when we think we are resting. True rest requires a total lack of input. It requires the courage to be bored, to sit in a room and let your thoughts drift like leaves on a river, without trying to catch them or solve them. The reason you feel tired is that you haven't had a moment of true silence in months. Your brain is like a library where people keep adding books every hour, but no one ever takes the time to organize the shelves. The tiredness is your brain's way of saying, I'm full. I cannot process anymore. We have been conditioned to fear silence, because in the silence, we have to face the things we've been running from. But the silence is where the healing happens. You cannot hear the music of your own life if the volume of the world is always turned up to 10. You don't need more sleep. You need more space. Space where nothing is being asked of you, and where you are asking nothing of yourself. This is the input trap, where we try to fix our exhaustion by consuming more, when what we need is to consume nothing at all. The beauty of a vessel is in its emptiness, its capacity to hold something new. If you are always full of the world's noise, there is no room for your own voice. Nothing is wrong with you. You are simply a sensitive instrument in a very noisy room. Imagine a piano. If you play it all day, every day, eventually the strings stretch. It goes out of tune. It doesn't mean the piano is broken. It just means it has been used. It needs a moment of silence to be tuned again. The weight you feel isn't because you are weak. It's because the world is loud, and you haven't learned how to turn the volume down on your own empathy. You feel the tension in a room before anyone speaks. You feel the subtle shift in a friend's tone before they even know they're upset. This empathy is a gift, but it is a heavy one. It's like carrying a high-definition camera in a world that is moving too fast. You see every detail, every grain of dust, and processing all that detail takes power. We live in a state of constant sensory overload. The lights, the sounds, the stream of data. For the sensitive soul, this is like 1,000 small cuts. Each one is tiny, but together, they bleed you dry. If you're tired, it means you're paying attention. It means you're a person who feels the nuance of the world. You are not broken. You're just out of sync. As we come to the end of this time together, I want to leave you with one final thought. You do not need to solve your tiredness tonight. You don't need to wake up tomorrow with a new plan to be better. Sometimes, the most productive thing you can do is acknowledge that you are at capacity. Give yourself permission to be unfinished. The world will still be there tomorrow. The tasks will wait. The expectations will remain. But for right now, in this quiet space, you don't have to be anyone. You don't have to be the easy friend or the productive employee. You are enough, exactly as you are, heavy, tired, and all. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine putting that invisible stone down, just for tonight. You can pick it up tomorrow if you have to, but for now, just let it rest. This tiredness is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is telling you that you have been living for others for too long. Listen to it. Honor it. Give it the space it is asking for. You are not a machine. You are a garden, and every garden needs a season of fallow, a season of rest, where nothing is expected to grow but the roots. Sleep if you can. Be still if you can't. For tonight, just let the water be still. For tonight, just let the candle burn low. For tonight, just be. You are safe. You are seen. You are enough. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening.